some of the benefits of it, how you can use play, and a lot of how you can rebuild play. So a lot of the times with our older dogs and maybe our more senior dogs, we lose some of this play from them. So when they're puppies generally or adolescents, we'll give them a toy and, it's only a matter of minutes before that toy is shredded. Every toy we bring home becomes the new favorite toy. And we can start to see that change a little bit as they get older, where they lose interest in play. But play is really, really important for our dogs. And it's important that we help them maintain play as a behavior for a lot of different reasons. So let's talk about some of the benefits of play. So first off, play is an excellent way to strengthen the human and animal bond. A lot of play involves us interacting with them, and so it's a really nice way for them to build a positive association with interacting with us, and it's a way for everybody, the dog included, to loosen up and have fun. When was the last time that you went out and played and you thought, oh, this is boring, right? Every time we play, it is fun. It releases endorphins. It makes you feel good. And all of us, dogs and humans right now, need a lot of fun. We need a lot of play to help boost our spirits. Another benefit of play is physical exercise. When we are interacting with our dogs, if our dog is playing a toy, think of them grabbing a toy and maybe shaking it to death, right? Or they are playing fetch or frisbee or tug, that works out the body. And so especially when we're talking about lost toy drive in older dogs, exercise is super important. So we want to make sure that the body keeps moving and stays active. We want to make sure that those muscles stay nice and strong to help support those joints that might start to become a little less stable as they get older. So that physical exercise component is really important. In addition to physical exercise, we also need to talk about the mental enrichment component of it. So there are so many different kinds of play, and all kinds of play are going to stimulate your dog mentally in a different way. And we have talked about this quite a bit. I know we talk to our clients about it a lot. Mental stimulation not only improves the quality of life that your dog has, but it helps tire them out. So a lot of the times, if it's rainy and we can't get outside, or maybe the weather is just really bad, or maybe we're exhausted, right? And we can't get out on that exercise with our dogs. The mental enrichment component that they can get from play is huge. And we will talk about a few different kinds of play and how those work the brain differently in just a minute. The other benefit of play is that it decreases boredom. If our dogs are engaged in an activity and having a good time, they're not bored. And science shows us that if we decrease boredom, if our dog is more engaged in other activities, they are actually less likely to develop nuisance behaviors like barking or inappropriate chewing, right? They've got less time, less energy to spend on those types of activities, and they're going to be spending a lot more time engaged in play, whether it's self-play, them playing by themselves, or human and dog play. Okay, so lots and lots of benefits. Physical and mental exercise, strengthening our bond. We can use it in training, and it can decrease boredom and prevent a lot of inappropriate behaviors from happening. So let's talk about how to use toys in training, because that's a big thing that we talk about with our clients. As soon as the dog knows a behavior with food reinforcement, as soon as they can sit reliably or wait reliably or stay reliably, we can start to incorporate those behaviors in play and then use that toy as a reinforcer. So when I say reinforcer, I mean it as the high value thing that comes after my click or after my yes, after my behavior. So if I asked my dog to sit and stay, I took a few steps back, yes, and then I might throw the toy for them. And that toy is acting as the reinforcer to the dog for their sit stay. But there's a few things that you need to keep in mind when you are using a toy as a reinforcer. First of all, your dog has to want the toy. Okay, they've got to want it. Second of all, you have to be using the toy in the manner that they want. For example, if I have a tug toy and I've been building play drive with a tug toy and I want to then use that tug as a reinforcer for a sit stay, I ask my dog to sit, I ask my dog to stay, and then I throw it for them to fetch. Well, but they didn't want to fetch that toy. They wanted to tug with that toy. And so not only does the value of the toy matter and whether or not your dog wants it matters, but it also matters how you then engage with that toy with your dog. You need to make sure that it's how your dog wants it because it's the reinforcer for your dog, okay? So lots of things to think about. But if we are trying to use toy as a reinforcer for a behavior or play as a reinforcer for a behavior, the dog has to want play. And if we have a dog that has lost interest or even just has a low toy drive, it makes that a lot harder to do. So we need to make sure that we've built up a strong desire for that behavior, or I'm sorry, for that toy and for the method that we want to use that toy. The last little tidbit I'm going to leave you about toys as reinforcers is think about how many repetitions of a behavior you need to do and how that toy will help or hurt you in achieving that. So for example, let's say we're on a walk. I've got a tug toy and I want to use this tug, which my dog loves. We've built it up. He enjoys the game of tug. I want to use that tug as reinforcement for heel and attention as I pass a dog. But there's a lot of people out walking their dogs. There's a lot of traffic. So I need to get lots of repetition of attention and heel, which means I need to be able to deliver the toy quickly, engage with the dog, and then be able to get the toy back so that we are quickly set up for another repetition of heel and attention. So tug would be a great toy to offer in that moment. I give it to my dog, we tug and we play, good job, okay, drop, they get a cookie, and then we keep walking. And we're immediately set up for another rep. A toy that would not be good in that circumstance might be fetch, right? If I'm thinking of launching a ball 10 feet, my dog has to run and get it, then they have to run and bring it back, and it's not going to be a very quick exchange of that toy. So make sure when you're using toys or play as reinforcement for behavior, your dog has to know this skill well already, meaning they can do it 8 out of 10 times quickly and confidently in a variety of situations. Then we need to make sure the dog wants the toy, okay? Then we need to make sure that we're using the toy in the manner that the dog wants it. And then finally, think about how quickly I need to be able to get that toy back or how many repetitions of a behavior I need to do, and make sure you're being smart about selecting the right kinds of toys to reinforce behavior in your dog's life. I see we just had a bunch more people tune into us, so thank you for joining us. If you guys have questions as we're moving through, please let me know. You can drop them in the comments, okay? So let's quickly talk about some easy forms of play. And these are forms of play that are great for dogs of all ages, and they're great for dogs who might have a low play drive or low toy drive. The first one I want to talk about is hide and seek. So this is a really fun game that you can play, and you don't need a lot of equipment. All you need is yourself and some treats. Now, in hide and seek, think about how you played hide and seek with kids when you were growing up, right? The dog is going to be the seeker. So you can have them settled on a mat. You can have them waiting at a doorway. You can have them in a sit or down stay. You're going to walk away from them, and then you can call them. So I use a different cue for this because I don't want to use my attention grabber, and I don't want to use my recall because I don't want the chance of those words being poisoned. So I say, come find me, right? And then the dog is released from their sit stay or released from their settle mat, comes to locate you, and they get a cookie. Now, when you start with hide and seek, we want the dog to be successful. So I don't want to walk all the way upstairs, out of sight, and hide under the bed. That's pretty hard. That's something that you got to work up towards. So if I'm in this environment right here, you want to come with me, Judy? Okay. Hi, good job. Okay. All right. So actually, come over here, bud. Can you settle? Nice job. All right. So I'm going to put him in a settle. And the first repetition, I'm just going to creep around the corner here. Oops. I know. Sorry, bud. Settle. Good boy. Come find me. Yes, good boy. Nice job. What a good boy. All right, come here, bud. Nice. All right, so super easy. I just walked right around the corner, just out of sight. If you have a piece of furniture that you could hide behind, that would be another easy place. Our goal for the first couple repetitions is to teach our dogs what this means and that they get cookies when they find us. So we want them to be successful. We don't want it to be too hard. And you could do a couple repetitions like this back to back. If your dog is successful, meaning they find you, they're starting to have fun with the game, each repetition, you can make it just a little more challenging. So start to vary where you're hiding. You could practice inside and outside. If your dog doesn't have a good sit stay or down stay or settle, then you need a helper. One person can gently restrain the dog. I'll show you how I normally do that. Come here, bud. Nice, good job. All right, can you sit? Now, he does not have a collar on. My dogs normally don't when we're in the house with them. So what I would do is just put my hands gently over his chest, right? Just a gentle restrain, open hands. Nice. I want to make sure that I'm not tugging on any hair or fur that he might have. All right, settle. If your dog is wearing a collar or a harness, you could very gently just put your fingers in there and hang on to the dog while the person walks away. And it's totally okay for the dog to watch the human leaving. It's actually a good thing, right? Because then they're like, wait a minute, where are they going? I gotta go find them. And it helps build up that excitement and that drive to want to come find the person who's hiding. So that's one easy and fun game that you can play with dogs that don't have a ton of toy drive, don't have a lot of excitement to engage in activities like tug or fetch. Also a great game for any dog, period. Helps them figure out that coming to people is good, that they get cookies for it, and it's a really fun game that the family can play too. All the kids can get involved. The second game that I want to talk about is nose work. And so that is something obviously that's a sport. And if we're talking about it really formally, it's where a dog in a competition setting will sniff out and find an odor. And the odor is 1 or 2 drops of essential oil. There's specific ones that we use in the sport, and it's hidden. And we can do it with cars, we can do boxes or containers, we can do interior hides, exterior hides. And so it's a really nice way for you to practice them using their nose, which is a great thing to do, especially for our dogs that are reactive. Because if you think about them, they might be a little overwhelmed visually or auditorily, and this gets them using their nose, which gets that brain working. But for play, you don't have to be super formal about it. You could hide treats. So I could take a cookie, let my dog sniff it so that they know what's going on, and then I'm going to take that treat and I can hide it anywhere. So very similar to hide and seek, where you have to have your dog in a sit stay or settle. You could even put them in a crate and close the door, or have someone restrain them, and you can hide some treats around the house and then practice like that. So we're going to demo that with Jude here real quick. Hi, okay, wait. I'm gonna hide some treats. I'm gonna fake him out with a few others. All right, okay, go find it. And I'm gonna walk around with him. I'm gonna try not to give him eye contact because I don't want him to think. Go find it. I don't want him to think that I want attention. And I can stand still and make it super easy. And if your dog's getting confused like this, you can, there. Yes, good boy. Nice, I'll help you. Good job. So I did a very gentle hand sweep. He picked up on the scent. I could see his little nose sniffing, and then he figured it out. All right, okay, there's another one. Go find it. Yes, good boy. Nice. Good job, bud. Very good. All right, all done. Here. Settle. Good job. So that's a super fun one that you can play. You can hide treats. Like I said, you could do it in boxes. You could set up 3 boxes in a row and put a treat just in one. You can either stand completely still and let your dog figure it out, or if they start getting confused like he was looking at me and going, wait a minute, what are we doing, right? You can help them by doing gentle hand sweeps, just kind of in the area, and then try to let them use that nose and figure it out. The more they do this, the easier it's gonna be for them, and they won't need as much help. And remember, again, our goal is that the dog is successful. So we don't wanna make it super hard. And if our dog is having a really challenging time finding it, good idea to, okay, let's take a break, put your dog in their crate, and then make the next ones easy. I see Christy commented, this is Rhaegar's favorite. Yeah, they're great games to play, and they're super easy to set up. It doesn't take a lot of equipment. It doesn't take a lot of forethought. It's easy and fun for everybody involved. So we really like both hide and seek and nose work with them. So the next one that we are going to talk about are puzzle toys. We talk about enrichment a lot here. Oops, hey Jude. Thank you. Nice. We talk about enrichment a lot here. Using puzzle toys, using things like snuffle mats, slow feeders, Kong wobblers and Kongs. So using these toys, we talk about them to prevent boredom. We talk about them to make feeding more challenging so that it takes your dog longer, but they also are a game. And the best thing about this kind of game is that the toy itself rewards your dog for interacting with it. So even our dogs who don't have good play drive or good toy drive can do this game as long as they like food, which dogs have to like food to survive. So depending on how much food drive they have, you could do this with just like their food, their kibble, their whatever they eat. If your dog has low food drive as well, because I know that those dogs do exist out there, pick your higher value treats to put in these toys and decrease the quantity. Again, our goal is success. So if I put an entire meal into a puzzle toy for my dog, that's going to be really hard for them. But if I put 5 to 10 high value treats in a toy the first time they do it, they're going to figure out what it is. They're going to have fun doing it. And it's going to start building that drive and endurance for them to want to do it more. So it's a really easy way. Jude, the dog that I am playing with here today, he is my lowest toy drive dog. He still gets the toys. He doesn't interact with them the same that my other two do. And so food puzzles are a really easy way for me to still give him that daily enrichment, daily exercise, daily play using a food puzzle. So that's another thing that you can do. We've got hide and seek, we've got nose work games, and puzzle toys. The other thing that we can do is we can actually train our dogs as a behavior to like play. We can teach them how to play. There are a lot of ways we can do this, ways that we can formally teach dogs fetch, ways we can formally teach dogs to play tug of war. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about free shaping play. So oops, where are you going, bud? He's ready to go. He's almost. So what we're going to do is we're going to use free shaping. Free shaping is, I'm going to use my clicker, and we're going to click and treat small approximations towards the right step. I like this because it's going to teach the dog that when they interact with the toy, good things happen. And the way that he interacts with it is totally up to him. I can have a goal in mind ahead of time, like I want to teach him to pick it up and throw it around. I can also have no goal in mind and just click and treat interaction, which would be him sniffing it, touching it, poking it, pawing at it. All of that would be okay. So we're going to go through real quick with Jude. With a little fox toy here. We're going to go over some free shaping with this toy. I'm going to start kind of not with a goal in mind, and we'll just see what he offers. And if he starts offering a lot, then I can talk about shaping it into something a little bit more specific. So I'm going to put this camera down here so that you can see the whole area. Okay. All right. Ready? There we go. Thanks. All right, so I'm going to get myself organized. I'm going to have a clicker in one hand open for treat delivery. I'm going to put the toy down, and I'm going to click and treat him for any interaction. This could be looking at it. It could be touching it, sniffing it, standing on it. Whatever he offers, I'm going to click and treat him for. I'm looking at the toy to make sure he doesn't think I want eye contact. Oh, good boy. Nice. So I'm clicking and treating, attention to the toy, moving towards the toy, and touching the toy. Right there. Good. My treat delivery is a little sloppy. These hot dogs are slimy. Attaboy. Yep, awesome. So now he's picking it up. Yes, good boy. Nice, good boy. So because he picked it up, I wanted to wait him out, so I didn't reward him for just that head bop. I wanted to see if he could offer more. Nice, so touching it. Touching. Ooh, there we got teeth on it. Good boy. Yes. Picking it up. All right, so I'm just gonna shape picking it up because that seems to be what he's wanting to offer, which is awesome because then I can reward him for, you said, good boy. I can reward him for picking it up and kind of throwing it around the room, which would be a natural form of play. A lot of times I'll see my dogs pick something up and shake it really fast, right? Killing the toy. So that's what we're gonna roll with, and we're gonna see if we can get some more pickups. Yes, good boy. So now I'm only going to click and treat him if he touches the toy or puts his mouth on it. I'm no longer clicking and treating, just looking at it or moving his head towards it. Yes, nice. Yes, good boy. That a boy, nice. Good. Nice, good boy. Yes, very nice. All right, we're gonna take a break. All done. Settle. Good, thank you. Killing the toy is the best. Yes, it is, Christy. I love killing the toy, especially because when they do it, they grab onto it and their eyes squint, they shake real hard and real fast, and it cracks me up. So that's what I'm working towards with him with this toy. You could see I was standing pretty still. I wasn't prompting him to do anything or luring him to do anything. I wanted to just stand there, give my attention to the toy, and click and treat him for any choice he made to interact. He's gonna go look for some leftovers. So that when they see the toy, they know that reinforcement happens for interacting with it. And like I said when I started, you could choose to just click and treat any interaction. Looking, sniffing, nose poking, moving towards it, either with their feet walking or with their head and their neck. Could also do pawing at it, swatting it with their feet. So you can be as specific as you want, meaning rewarding, shaping towards picking it up, or you can be kind of as general as you want, like, hey, just interact with it, I don't care. Both of them will reward your dog for playing with a toy, and it's gonna be their decision so that when they start to see these toys, they're gonna go, oh, good things have happened when I've interacted with it. So that's an easy way that you can start picking any toy that your dog doesn't like or doesn't play with and start to kind of boost some interaction with the toy. You can also teach fetch and tug in a very similar manner. With fetch, I normally start with holding the ball in a hand. I don't have one nearby. Oh, yeah, I do. Boy, I know you're so excited now. Can you sit? Thank you. So I'll start by holding it in my hand, and I'll use a verbal marker like yes or with my mouth. And when I do that, I'm then delivering treats with my other open hand. So same exact concept. The ball is in my hand. I'm clicking and treating the dog for making a decision to interact with this toy. Could be looking at it, touching it, poking it, and I'll hold it like this so that if they want to pick it up, I can. And that will start to teach the delivery of the ball back into your hand. With a tug toy, same thing. I'm going to hold a tug in one hand, either with a clicker in the same hand, or just use a verbal marker or a yes. And for that, I hold it, click and treat them for choosing to interact with the tug, sniffing it, poking it. Oh, I know, easy. Can you settle? Thank you. Interacting with it, and eventually putting their mouth on it and starting to tug. So you can shape interaction with these toys in a very specific manner like that. And that's going to help you either build toy play for dogs who don't enjoy toy play, or rebuild it, because a lot of our dogs, as they get older, as they age, they're going to start to lose this desire to play. And it's so important. We already talked about the benefits of toy play. It's going to keep them active, keep them mentally and physically stimulated, help prevent a lot of inappropriate behaviors in the house. So a variety of ways that you can build toy drive with your dogs. If you guys have any questions about anything or about your dog and their drive with toys, feel free to drop them in the comments. We will take a look at this over the next couple of days. So quick tips, quick recap for you guys. We want to reward all toy play. So especially if you've got a dog that has either lost play or just has low play, anytime you see them interacting with a toy, reward them. This could be as easy as, oh, yes, nice, and drop a piece of food to them, or yay, good job. The more animated we are during play, the more exciting and rewarding it's going to be for the dog. So we want to be active both when we're doing structured play with them and when we see them pick up toys naturally on their own. So when Jude, after playing with this today, I'm going to leave it out for him. And when he sees it later, oops, sorry, buddy, dropped it on his head. When he sees it later, he's going to go, oh, that was kind of fun. And if he chooses to pick it up or interact with it at all, I'm going to reinforce him for that. The other thing that we want to do, or that we can do, is when we get a brand new toy with our dog, interact with them with the toy, because toys can have increased value if they also become associated with games and with fun interactions with us. So for example, one of Jude's favorite toys is a big kettlebell that we keep outside. It's kind of an outdoor toy because it's so big, but he'll play fetch with that and he'll pick it up and shake it and kill it. And it's a really fun toy for him, not only because it has limited access, right? He doesn't have it all the time. It's an outside toy, but it also has always been associated with interactions with us. And so he is a really human-oriented dog, much more so than the others. And so it's very rewarding for him anytime he gets to interact with us. So having that relationship with the toy, meaning that he gets to play with us with it too, it increases the value of that toy for him. So you guys, not only can you reinforce when they pick up toys on their own, when they play on their own, but you can be strategic about going, okay, this is a new toy. Let me boost its value right off the bat by creating some fun associations with the toy. Okay, so lots of things you can do. I hope that this has inspired you to have some fun with your dog, because we all need some fun right now. So you can do a little bit of hide and seek. You can do some nose work with your dog. You can pull out some puzzle toys and add in some more puzzle toys with them. Remember to reward all interactions with toys, set up interactions so that you become associated with that toy, with that game, which will boost your dog's interest. And then remember that you can always use training to build drive with that toy, especially if you guys want to be using a toy as a reinforcer. So we talked about on walks being able to play tug as a reward. Right now for Jude, that would not be a reward. But if that is something I wanted to do, I could build it with him so that I could use it. So lots of opportunities for your dogs. Remember how important play is. You know, all too often we walk into clients' homes and, oh, we don't buy him toys because he doesn't use them. Well, that's a problem. Our dogs need to be having fun. It's too important of a skill for us and for them. So let's go ahead. Let's boost some play this week. If you guys practice any of this, feel free to tag us. We want to see what's going on. We love pictures and videos. We love to see you guys having fun with your dogs. So I hope everybody has an awesome day. Bye, guys.